What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Dean Thomas, and you are listening to Fight Court. We are back again, another episode, joined by my man, as always, Ryan Quinn. How was your weekend?
It was fantastic. We got the fall stuff in, the pumpkin picking, we got some pumpkins to paint. Mine was the worst out of the whole family, but we saw that happen. And there was some good college football and great fights to watch, a lot of stuff to dissect. How's your weekend?
It was awesome. I was teaching and testing some great, fantastic traditional martial artists, and they were a part of a network of championship martial arts. It's a world, not a worldwide, a countrywide network of just really fantastic schools to just keep things together. And they test their black belt instructors, and they have guest instructors come in, and I was a part of the panel that was testing and teaching and so on and so forth. But it was kind of a bittersweet engagement for me because the original guy who was supposed to do it in my place was Duke Roufus. Yes. And as we know, Duke Roufus passed away earlier this week. And that wasn't why he wasn't here. He had something else that he said he had to do, but he was originally supposed to be here, but he had to cancel. He had something to do. And then we just learned earlier this week that he passed away. But man, shout out to Duke Roufus and all that he's done for the martial arts community, the martial arts world. I don't think martial arts would be where it is today without Duke Roufus. And the guy has just had his hands on so many people. He's influenced so many great martial artists, made so many champions, and the world was a better place with Duke Roufus in it. Do you have any Duke Roufus stories or anything that?
I don't have any story. I never knew him personally, but I would like to say because he was part of our community, and I know you know him. You knew him well. I know a lot of my friends knew him well. A lot of my colleagues, if you would, a lot of my training partners. So when you don't know someone and then you see the success they have in our industry inside the cage with their coaching, and then you hear these world-class comments from those who have been around him, you know that he did well, he did right by our industry, by our game. And I will always have that man's respect. And it really is a shame. My condolences and prayers are with his family. And I may he rest in peace.
Yeah, I don't have any one in particular story that really stands out about me with Duke. I mean, we had a lot of good times. We co-trained Tyron together during Tyron's best days as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He was so brilliant, so smart. His technique, it speaks, like, just watching his fighters, you can see the influence of what he's doing because he's so tricky. He's got these, really crafty setups. If you watch the Pettis brothers or C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez, and just watch how they operate, he's so good. But when me and Tyron was training there, like, it was such a strong room of fighters at that time. And just right before the pandemic, or right kind of during the pandemic, and maybe even a little bit before the pandemic at times. Yeah, before the pandemic, during the pandemic, it was Tyron, Ben Askren. I met Brendan Allen there, who we'll talk about in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Bilal Muhammad was training there. Paul Felder was training there. In fact, so Paul Felder first started training there while we were in one of the camps. And that was at our first day in camp, our very first day in camp at Duke Roufus. Is my very first time being there on the mat. His very first day, drove up from Chicago, CM Punk. So, I mean, it was just, a lot of memories Duke gave us, and, I can't speak enough about him. And, but I mean, obviously I'm not going to make this whole show about Duke. I just wanted to make sure he got his
Absolutely.
proper respect from me for
Yep.
this, but, he will be missed. But
Well
speaking
done.
of Brendan Allen, he was victorious over the weekend, upsetting Reinier de Ridder. That was a shock to, I think, a lot of people. Most people thought Reinier de Ridder was just going to go out there, walk through Brandon, and stake his claim at the middleweight title. That didn't happen. That did not happen. What happened, Ryan? What did you see?
Well,
That
man, I was one of those people that thought that Reinier de Ridder was going to leave victorious pretty solidly. Now, Actually, this night as a whole, as you know, I watch the fights on mute a lot, especially like during college football season, which was happening. So this one was unique in the fact that I saw the same thing as everyone else for the most part, through the entire card, because there's a lot to unravel here, with the exception of the main event. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that Reiner quit, that he just quit, he didn't have it. Um, I, I, to me, it looked like there was an injury there. Even early on, the first 2 rounds, he looked like he was fighting more conservatively, had to just get in there and pin him, pay him, get out. And that's what it looked like. He wasn't really looking to strike, wasn't looking to engage, wasn't looking to expend energy. Everything from the takedowns to the ground control just reeked of chewing clock. Now, against somebody, I was like, well, that's a tough way to make your money. Against somebody like Brendan Allen. And Brendan Allen did what Brendan Allen does. He was in his face. He kept the fight busy. And then eventually the fatigue came or set in. And Brendan just, and if you watch every time that Reiner slipped off or something like that, or a mistake happened, he made him pay. Like he made him pay. Like whether it was just scoring or just really doing damage. But whatever condition Reiner was in, it was worse after every mistake he made by Brendan. Brendan was really good. That's why he's so tough to fight Brendan, because even though he doesn't come off like, oh, this world class striking, this world class wrestling, his margin for error is small when especially when he's fighting in there. So whatever what was going on, I don't know. Maybe you heard of something. I tried to look up. I couldn't find anything. It looked like that Reiner was hurt, but shout out to Brendan Allen for doing his job against what was arguably the number one contender at the time.
Well, I'm going to preface my opinion with the complete honesty of not watching the fight yet. I saw the clips.
Okay.
I saw clips of the fight. I saw I saw a picture, or not a picture. I saw a video of the moment in which the fight was ended, in
Mm-hmm.
which Reiner said he was not fighting no more, right? Where he's like, nah,
Yeah.
where he was just sitting there. Um, Now, injury or not, that's still quitting, right?
Okay.
And no, it sounds bad. It sounds worse because it's such a blanket statement. Because when we think of quitters, it's such a negative connotation.
Now I didn't see this, but I read somewhere, and I actually read in multiple spots that the corner threw the towel. I don't like if they made the decision for him.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I saw a few videos on this, and there was one video with like written captions of the corner saying, "Are you
mm.
okay? If you're not okay, I'm going to throw in the towel," and the towel gets thrown in.
So he
Right.
he
So
gave the permission. I got what you're saying.
he might not have said anything, but not saying anything is sort of an admission.
Yep.
By not saying, "No, come on, man, we in this. Let me go out on my shield." Whatever it
Mm.
is that you have to do as a fighter, you do that. Now, me suggesting that he quit, I'm not saying that in a negative way, but if you're fighting a fight and you no longer get off the stool or for whatever reason, you quit, right? You can be injured, that's
Yeah.
fine, but you still quit. Like that's just the reason why you're not fighting. You still quit. Now, what would happen is like if he goes and says, "Oh, here's my I was injured," da 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 da, then people go, "Oh, it's an excuse." So then, what is it then? What is it if you are fighting and then you are no longer fighting and the other guy wins? Is it not quitting? Excuse or not,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the situation, it's still quitting. Um, and that I've heard rumors. Honestly, man, I've heard rumors of just Reiner not training hard. I don't know. I don't know how truthful that is, but normally when guys don't train all that hard, it's easier for them to quit.
Yep.
Right? They're
I
just not used to battling adversity in practice. It's not a part of who they are as a fighter. They're used to finding ways of winning. It's easier to find. It's like sometimes, but when you run out of options of winning, it's like, all right, man, I'm out.
yep. And that's true. Like if you're not going to be invested in your training, then mentally you're not going to be invested in fight night either. Uh, so
And you're not going to go through what you need to go through at times to find a way to win.
yep. Fair.
And I think that's kind of what happened to him last night.
Man. so close to a title shot, and this is how you handle your career if that's the case. And it was the other thing is like why I also think there was more to it is going into the fifth round is such a weird time to call it. It's such like it's not going to the third. It's like you have 5 minutes left to try to make something happen. And you're like, you know what? I don't have that 5 minutes. It's just such a weird time to call it.
Well, that's actually speaks a little worse to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if this happened like in the second round and you give up, then you
Yeah.
go, okay, he was really badly damaged,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to take your hat off to what Brandon Allen did, or he was really hurt leading up to it, or got hurt really bad in the fight. And it's almost more acceptable. Like if you were to quit in between the first and second round, but to
Yes,
stop
that's what I'm
fighting in
saying. Yeah.
between the fourth and the fifth, it's kind of an admission of guilt that man, I had enough.
Yeah. It's like you think of what Rory McDonald looked like going into the fifth round against Robbie Lawler, and it's and then he that's one person you could tell literally physically had enough in that fight. Um, I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, but that's what it looks like when you've had enough. And Reiner didn't look like that. Yeah, you know,
No, he
like
didn't look like that.
yeah,
No, he didn't look like that. Like when I mean, if you go back and watch UFC 187, Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler,
mm-hmm.
you can hear the commentary talking about how his body just gave up on him. Like he literally had nothing left. His body gave up on him, and
Yeah,
the refs had to stop it. So it wasn't like his body gave up on him. Reiner didn't look like that. Now, again, I'm not saying that Rory McDonald is the standard.
yeah.
He's
He's not the
exceptional.
litmus test.
He's
Yeah,
exceptional. I'm saying the standard is probably looks more like Reinier de Ridder.
yeah,
The
yeah.
standard for most MMA guys probably looks like that. Just no one really ends up in that position often to really show the world that, like, hey man, listen, when things get a little tough for a lot of these guys, they'll find a way out. I mean, I've
Right.
been around guys who quit before the fight started, where they were just looking for a way to get out because they were so nervous.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. But I don't. But this doesn't speak on Reiner's skill. He's a tremendously skilled fighter. He just, this it's just what happens. And I talk about this all the time with John Marquez, which is why he keeps his room really tough. He keeps his room tough for these moments, so that this never happens to his guys. So that because he speaks on it like this is like the core of the essence of the gym in Philly of Marquez MMA is that the room is going to be tough, and even when you drill, it's going to be tough because when you fight, it's going to be tough, and you need to be prepared for that.
Right. Absolutely. It's never, well, very rarely are you going to fight on your best day. And even more rare, will you go into a fight 100%. So I'm with it. I'm with it. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens there. Like I was looking for Dana's interview post fight press conference. I didn't see anything.
There's
Uh,
no way Dana gave an interview
yeah. It was
after a Vancouver fight in which Brandon Allen wins.
yeah. I just oh, I mean, the only thing that I could say is, like I was saying, I think that this obviously pops up Brandon Allen as far as his stock in the division. I don't think that puts him in a number one contender. I'm still going with Anthony Fluffy Hernandez as my number one contender. Um, but but I mean, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing what comes of it. And there's some other stuff. What did you see? What else on the card did you see? I had a couple of good talking
Obviously,
points.
no, yeah, obviously, the whole Kevin Holland fight with
Yeah,
Mike Malott, it's just this is why I try to tell these guys, man, you have to stop. Kevin was so talented when he first came out. And I don't know what happened on why his career just and at the end of it, he's going to have a great career because he's getting a lot of fights, he's making a lot of money. So, in
yeah,
the grand scheme of things, as being a professional fighter, in terms of making a living and having a career and succeeding in that, in the grand scheme of things, it'll be a great career. But in terms of how high he could have made it with his skill set, I think he will have failed himself in that way
I
because
agree.
he will have failed himself in maybe fighting for a title, maybe even of being a champion. And I don't know where it went wrong. I really don't. I don't because I don't. I didn't do a study on his career, but I just remember I'm good friends with Travis Luter, his very first jiu-jitsu coach, and he was tremendous jiu-jitsu player, and he won the Ultimate Fighter at 185 pounds. Travis Luter did, and I remember talking to him about Kevin, and he's like, "Yo, this guy is the most athletic, gifted guy I've ever trained. He's and like you think about his body type, he's long, he's rangy." And I remember his boxing coach Shug, who had worked with Julius the Hawk Jackson, one of the hardest punchers ever, was talking about how great Kevin is. And I'm not sure if maybe he had a falling out with those guys, or maybe they weren't the right guys for him, or just whatever it is, man. It just sucks so bad because when you're making these good fighters, man, all these things have to connect, and it just never really connected for Kevin.
Man, it's like he got off the elevator. Like he was going to the top, and then you know what? I'm cool right here. Like that's because even his last few fights, I'm like, oh, he's figuring it out again. But at one point, even before this fight started, I'm like, what Kevin Holland is going to show up?
Hmm.
It really is. It's crazy, I mean, but he said like there's times where he's like, man, I'm cool, man. So I don't know. Like it was so weird though. Like well, it was two nut shots on paper, but apparently Mike Mallet said, I swear that I hit him in the ribs or hips or something like that. So who knows? This goes to what we were saying prior. If that's the case, like, were you looking for a way out or and at first Dan Mergliotta was getting criticized, like, oh, why didn't you stop the fight? Why didn't you take a point? And maybe Dan knew that it was a little fishy, and he's like, yep, you gotta suck it up and get out there. I don't know, man, but I think that Mike Mallet had a good game plan against him. I don't know which Kevin Holland is here tonight, but we're gonna find out right now. And then once he did, he just did his thing and took the decision. It was yeah, it's whatever, like uh I mean, Kevin will always be fun and fascinating to watch. He'll always fight guys that are fun and fascinating to watch or on the rise. Maybe even get some contenders in there, but Kevin is going to be what Kevin is. And that's what he's going to be on the high end of the pay-per-view preliminary or a fight night or the opening fight of a main event of a pay-per-view. Well, or what was a pay-per-view. So that's just what he is, and he's cool with it, I guess.
Yeah, but like I said, it sucks, man, because we wanted more from him, and it's
Mhm.
hard to get that sometimes.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful with the excuses that we give to people, because the biggest excuse was, oh, he's not big enough for 185. Man, he hasn't had success at 170.
Nope.
Or, oh, his wrestling wasn't good. Like, he gets beat by other strike. Like, so those things that we thought and used as excuses to why he couldn't perform right were not it. It wasn't it. It's a bigger issue. It was a
Yeah.
bigger issue. And we just, oh, he's got to go back to 170. Oh, he's got to work on his wrestling. I'm sure he worked on his wrestling a lot.
Yeah.
And he went back down to 170. And it's still not, it was a bigger issue. We didn't identify the issue properly and fix it. And
Hmm.
again, I'm not sure 100% what it was because I don't know him or in his camp like that. But it's it's unfortunate for us because we'll never get to see how good he could have been.
Yep. Absolutely. Further down the card, Aiemann Zahabi and Chito Vera was a really good fight. Actually, it was an excellent fight. Uh, I I did not envy the judges. I didn't have a pick either way. I remember I was like, shit, I really don't envy these judges. Um, Split decision. I think what might have hurt Chito was it's so minuscule and it's so easy to look back at this, but like he was landing knees from the outside to the body, like not in the clinch. But then he was following up with straight punches or maybe like an extended hook. So that when those exchanges were happening, he was missing with those punches, and Zahabi was and landing straight punches after the fact. So Zahabi was finishing the exchanges. I think that's what kind of hurt Marlon. So, and one other thing I noticed, Zahabi had a great game plan. He did that, and then he did a lot of little movement. Like he was very noisy inside here, like right in the clinch, right in the guard. He was very noisy in here, so he wasn't giving Chito any time to set up take aim for those big power punches. I think that slowed Chito down a little bit, and that allowed for Zahabi to have more volume, or what looked like more volume, and that's what the judges saw. But it was an excellent fight nonetheless. Like, you know how usually Chito at the end of the round, he'll usually do his damage, like he's a cleanup artist. He didn't really get that opportunity a whole lot in this fight. His damage was done with just landing big knees and a couple of big punches in the middle of the rounds, but he wasn't finishing any exchanges. Interesting fight. I said right away, I want to see Chito fight Patchy Mix next. I think that's the fight for both of them. Let's see what they're doing. And I don't really know about Zahabi. I didn't hear what he said in the post fight. I know Chito was pissed off. Did you hear about that, or did you watch any of it?
No, again, it was very difficult for me. I obviously, from that, I was testing guys and teaching, so I couldn't
Yeah,
watch the fights live. And then
it was
going
early.
back to watch it is like it's a nightmare now to try to find fights. So you go. I searched like as many clips as I could to watch it. Cheeto, I think he suffers from, just like you said, a lack. Like hearing you talk about it, he suffers from a lack of activity, and it bites him in the end.
Yes.
And normally he's able to make up for it because of the amount of damage that he's able to create off of one or two strikes. So when you go back to the Rob Font fight,
That's
I
the fight I was
remember,
just thinking of.
yeah, I remember working that fight thinking,
Mhm.
how good does Rob Font look? Like on paper, the numbers, like he looks so good. It's just he would get hit once or twice, and it would just steal the whole round for Cheeto. But if like those one or two punches never happened, Cheeto
It's a
loses
Rob
that
Font fight.
fight.
Yep.
Yeah, Rob Font outfought Cheeto. It's just Cheeto hit him and did the most damage on just a couple of punches.
It's a damage game, and he did the damage. That's
Yeah,
mhm.
and I can see how with you know with Aiemann Zahabi, just like you said, like his defensive work and how busy he can be and appear to disrupt himself, to disrupt Cheeto from finding that big shot to really give that damage. I can see how that would have worked. And Faraz, obviously his brother was just a mastermind of a coach.
Mhm.
I'm sure that was a part of their game plan. Hey, listen, we can't let them get the big ones off.
Yep.
We can't let them steal the show with the big ones, and we can outfight them. And it makes sense to me. And I understand Cheeto's probably upset, but one thing as a fighter that you can never do is be upset if you didn't do enough.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
that was up to you, that was up to you in the moment. You can't look back and be like, man, I should have won. You're supposed to think I won. What's going on with these judges? We need to fire the judges. You didn't do enough, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you don't do enough and you don't take rounds to look like clear 10-8s, you didn't do enough. And I can see how Cheeto suffered from that.
Yeah. That's what happened. That's what happened. It was he's used. And I just hearing what we both said now, he's just so used to his career just being able to do that damage that immediately following the fight, he maybe subliminally thought that he did the damage he always did, and he just didn't. He just didn't. And the refs weren't, the judges weren't going to give that to him. But yeah, go back and watch that. I'm interested to see what you have to say. The other fight that I'm interested in this card, and this is probably I'm probably the only one in the world that's in. Well, no, you might be interested. It's real fight nerd shit. But Kyle Nelson's fight against Matt Frivola.
Mhm.
I found the fight so interesting, and Kyle's got a really good. He's got a very underrated coach in Crew Allen. I met him when I was doing shows and I was competing up in Canada, and he really knows this game very well. But the way he was able to keep Matt Frivola extended everywhere. I'm not just talking against the cage with the clinch, which his clinch was clearly he was trying to extend him with it, where he would drop his grip from here down to his hips, and he was trying to keep Matt extended on the ground, keeping Matt extended, obviously, when he had the hooks in. Oh, and there was some iffy if the fight should have been stopped at the end of one of the rounds, but whatever, it didn't. And then, of course, on their feet, the way he kept them at range. There was at no point where the shorter fighter was able to get stout. He was fighting like treading like out of water, like treading with like out in swim level. Like it was really impressive just to be that disciplined, to know to keep him extended in all aspects of the game: striking, wrestling, grappling. Check that out when you get a chance.
I will check that out. I mean, again, it was a fight where I saw some clips of because, you
Mhm.
know, shout out to Crew Allen, like you said, from Canada.
Yeah.
He's a coach in Canada, and you have to measure and judge coaches by the success they have with what they're working with. You know, it's easy to give Greg Jackson and those guys a lot of props when you got John Jones and you've worked with GSP, and it's easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking shots at them, but it's a little easier to look great when you're working with guys that are really good.
Yep.
But when you start off with guys, you know, like when I look at a guy like Kyle Nelson, I almost pick against him every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like he's not a guy who stands out in my mind like, yo, this is the dude right here. This is the
Yeah.
guy. But he builds up momentum in fights and he wins. And he wins. And it's attributed, you have to attribute a lot of that to Crew Allen and what they're doing over there in that part of Canada.
Jourdain trains with them too. I think he won. I didn't see the fight, but he won as well.
Oh, does he train with them as well?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Charles Jourdain, like, but he was a guy who you knew was going to be was good.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, when he dropped down to 135, he was
Maybe it wasn't
traditionally.
him. I think they train together, but go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not sure, but just I'm going to speak on him, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure if he trains there or not. But I know one thing, like he was always going to be good though.
Yeah.
Like when he was fighting at featherweight, he was a good featherweight. And when he dropped down to 135, I questioned it, like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, can he make it? Actually, no, Charles Jourdain does not train with them because he trains with Fabio Holando and
Okay.
BTT and the
All right.
BTT guys. But yeah, because I see Fabio all the time at fights. But at 135, he looks fantastic. He's another one that at 135 just found the new life fighting new guys. And sometimes in a very similar situation to like Bryce Mitchell, when you know you have to cut an extra 10 pounds, you live a different lifestyle leading up to the fight. And I think you take the fight a little more seriously because now you know you have to make this weight and you're doing things extra that you wouldn't normally do
Mhm.
before. And Charles Jourdain, like now, I mean, he looks amazing at 135.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Canada. I enjoy the Canada cards. I'm happy that Canada gets their light. They do have great fighters, and that's what we see in cards like that. So that was cool. Um, let's go into this upcoming weekend. Was it 321 or is it 322? I don't even know. Let me see. I had on my
322. 322.
yeah, it's 321. It's 321.
321. Yeah,
Yeah.
322. Yeah, 322 is Madison Square Garden, 323
Right.
T-Mobile, 321. Yeah.
Yep.
Abu Dhabi.
All
Thank
right.
you for the clarification. Any
Mhm.
early predictions?
I don't see a world where Ciryl Gane wins. I like Ciryl Gane. I'm starting to. I mean, you really can't feel bad for Ciryl Gane. He's in always big fights, but it's always who's he going to match up well against? Like he's in these big fights, and it's always like the other guy. Like I just like we talked about like when Alex Pereira would jump up, who would be his first fight? We're like, oh, Ciryl Gane. So I give him a lot of credit. I just don't see a world where he wins it. I'm not even given the MMA game. I'm not even sure he has the superiority in the striking realm with the way Tom Aspinall moves and he's explosive. Um, actually, I see Tom submitting him early on. I see him rocking him, taking the ground, submitting him early on. For some reason, I'm seeing like a side control Kimura too, like something that you would see. What about you with that fight?
And I hate to say I hate to say I can't see a world in which a man wins because that's when they always win.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that'll
you're almost right about that. It feels like how does this guy win? And it's hard to really envision that in your head. I think Tom is better. Honestly, I think he's better everywhere.
yeah,
I think I really
yeah.
do think his first step on his feet is quicker. I,
He's even
oh,
bigger.
yes, he's bigger too. But you don't realize that because he's so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
But if there is a path of victory for Ciryl Gane, that is to try to take advantage of the fact that every so often Tom Aspinall lifts his head up when he throws punches.
He does. Yes. And he yes.
And he tends to, and he does get hit.
Mm-hmm.
He just eats it. He has in the past eaten it so well. Like when we thought Sergey Pavlovich was just this eraser of a puncher. As soon as he hits you, you're going to die. And Tom Aspinall ate his punch. Curtis Blades cracked Tom Aspinall. Nothing. Boom, walk right through it. these guys have clipped him before, but no one has really made him even think about being hurt. So
Yep.
can Ciryl Gane be the first to do it? The probability in my eyes, not very high. I think Tom Aspinall, like you said, I think he touches him up on the feet. I think it'll be competitive early because Ciryl Gane moves so well, he won't really engage a lot. But um, but I think once it slows down and they start throwing more, I think Tom Aspinall shows his advantage in the speed. I think he clips him up and he might take him down and he probably will
And
submit him.
yeah, speed and versatility.
Yeah.
All right. So you're running Ciryl Gane's camp. What are you doing? What are you trying to set up to do that damage on Tom? Because that's what you got to hit a home run. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a home run one hitter quitter, but you have to hit home runs in this fight. So what are you doing? What game plan are you putting together? Now, like we're looking for that chin up, or we're trying to set
Yeah,
up so he gets
I'm
in the
looking
chin.
for that. I'm looking for that.
What are you
I'm
looking to
looking for
do?
that when he comes in
Mm-hmm.
because and Ciryl Gane's got a very tricky lead left stab kick
Yes.
when he stands southpaw. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably fighting the fight in that stance for a good portion of the fight. And when you do that, you force the guy to either stay away from you or rush in. If you can get Tom to rush in with his head up, tuck your chin, shield, boom,
Yep.
crack him on his way in. But Ciryl Gane doesn't really punch like that. He don't really sit down on his punches. Like he'll back
Yes.
up. He'll back
Yeah.
up when he's punching. So that's another reason why I can't expect him to do
Yeah.
this. Like to just sit down on his tuck his chin, sit down on a punch and go, come on,
Mm-hmm.
come in, come here. Tuck his chin and just on your way in. Crack.
Which is
Yeah, I
so
can't see
funny
him doing
too,
it.
because a lot of the French kickboxers, they kind of do have that like who style. Like, but he doesn't, he's smoother. He's
Yeah.
um I'm really looking forward actually to the main event. Actually, I'm even thinking of doing a breakdown video of this fight because there's a lot here that could be unraveled between uh what's her name, Virna Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern. It's interesting because they're both ground fighters mostly, but it's different type of jujitsu. Like it's different type of ground where you got the power grappling from Jandiroba, and then you have a little bit more of a slick style from Mackenzie Dern. A little bit more active. Well, she'll be more active on her back, and it'll go. I think it'll get there. I think that Jandiroba is going to look for takedowns. Um, it's just interesting to see which grappling battle wins. I don't want to call it jujitsu and MMA, but that's what it is. I think that Mackenzie might have the advantage in the stand up, but if she can keep it there is another issue. I kind of think that Virna is going to take this fight. What do you think about it?
You think Verner's gonna win the fight?
I do. I do. I think that she's going to get it to the ground and she's going to be able to control Mackenzie. I think she's stronger.
I like where you're going with this. I do like it. I don't agree though. I don't
Okay.
agree with it.
Well, let's
I
debate.
do like it though because I do think there's a lot of water to it because I think that Mackenzie does have the advantage on the feet. She punches harder. I think she understands striking a little bit better, despite her being a jiu-jitsu girl and not having a lot of confidence in it. I think she understands it better through the coaching of Jason Perillo.
Mhm.
Um, but I think the biggest difference will be is Virna Jandiroba is known to fade. She's
Very
known to
true.
fade. She's known to fade. And I think just with the fact that Mackenzie Dern's her jujitsu skills is going to challenge Virna on the ground. Virna will end up on top because he's a stronger grappler in terms of like winning those scrambles. She'll probably end up on top. But I think Mackenzie's jiu-jitsu will give her enough problems to get her tired. And I think as the fight progresses, she gets sloppier and sloppier. And then that's where Mackenzie takes over. I think Mackenzie's able to take over in the last 3 rounds. She might lose the first two, but I think she just
Mhm.
takes over in the last three because Virna gets tired.
Okay. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. You know who Verna reminds me of on her feet, and she's got the knee pads and everything. Matt Lindland, like the way she just kind of. I bet nobody watching this knows who Matt Lindland
Yo,
is. but now go watch. Now
I never thought of that comparison.
now go watch it and unsee it, or try
Yeah,
to
yeah.
unsee it.
I won't be able to.
So that's kind of, as soon as you see the knee pads, you go, oh, but yeah, that's so because of that comparison, I do think that she's going to get touched up and pointed in the stand up, especially Mackenzie's gotten very well with throwing straight punches to low kicks and getting out of the way. That's the area of concern for both fighters, really, the low kicks for Mackenzie. Will she get taken down over it? Because Virna almost instinctually does the stiff arm to the single, and can Mackenzie win the exchange and get out of the way? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. What else are you looking forward to on this card?
I don't know, honestly.
I got
And
Umar
I
beating
don't
Mario
think.
Batista. Just going down.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Umar Mario Batista. I think that's probably the only other fight that anybody should have interest in, and I think Umar redeems himself with it. I think that Mario Bautista is a great fighter, man, and this is his time to shine, and this is a great opportunity for him. But very similar to Marcus McGee and Petr Yan, I think he's just not going to be good enough. He's just going to run into a guy who's better. And
Yeah,
when we talked to Marcus McGee, remember, he was just like, man, I got no, like, he was just better. And I think that's what's going to happen in this fight.
I agree. That's real all I got for that. You got anything else?
That's it, G.
All right.
That's it, G. We appreciate the listeners, the people who watch, the people who listen.
If you're in South Florida, FightCourt has a very special appearance at a coach's speaking arrangement at Nova Southeastern University with Florida State University coaching program. So we are going to talk about MMA, sports psychology, the benefits for other sports, and we're really pumped about it. So.
I'm pumped about that. Next Saturday, October 25th. So before you watch the fights that night, tune in. You can register for an online situation.
Virtual.
But if you are, virtual. But if you're local to South Florida, come out to Nova Southeastern and come check us out. I'll take pictures for free too.
All right, me too.
All right, well, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. On that note, this court is adjourned.